Good evening, all you creatures of the night. Tonight we take you to any town, USA. A place where innocence is a second thought and partying is the number one objective. It's the dead of summer in a small coastal town, miles away from any sort of metropolitan mecca. What are a bunch of young, hormonal teenagers to do? They take to night drinking and smoking and celebrating their youth. When a pair of couples stray from the group and they start a late-night fire in the ocean. They reminisce before partying again to take part in some late-night unholy shenanigans with their significant others. The night is one for the books for a young teenager in the throngs of adolescence and on the cusp of adulthood. Then they peel out in their car and in the evening when things take a turn for the worse. Speeding around the corner, it's not their future on the horizon, but a human being bouncing off their hood beaten and bloody. The young teenagers were intoxicated with booze and the promise of the future, but are now in the fits of a stalker's revenge back from the dead. This is It Records. Hello everybody, I'm one of your many hosts of the It Records podcast, Matt Johnson here, and I'm joined with the lovely, the fantastic, the magnanimous Lindsay Clark. Boom. Switcheroo. Usually it's Pete, not this time. Pete doesn't take well to my praises, but Pete's also here. Pete, thanks for joining us this week too.
How dare you?
Well, I've been trying to give you my love and affection these past several podcasts, Pete, and you just deflect. So I've given up, you know. I'm a beaten man.
Years. It's been years.
Over these many, many years. Well, this week on the podcast, we watched the 1997 horror film, I Know What You Did Last Summer.
So the boy and girl are making out, right? When they hear over the radio that this lunatic killer's escaped from an insane asylum.
That's not the way it goes. The boy goes for help, and the girl stays in the car, and she hears this, scratching sound.
No, he's been decapitated. No, he was gutted with a hook.
What's with you? Watch out!
Oh my God.
You think he's dead?
We can't just leave him here.
Oh, tell me, little Miss Prelaw, what's the charge for manslaughter? We make a pact. Right here and now we take this to our grave.
For the last year, 4 friends have kept a secret.
Are you on drugs? No. Well, then what is wrong? I've had a rough year.
But not all secrets stay buried.
Somebody sent this to me. Oh my God.
Someone knows.
I know what you did last summer. Ooh.
What they thought would be a new beginning
Toast to us.
is becoming a dead end.
Somebody tried to kill you last night. We have to go to the police.
If he wanted me dead, he could have done it.
And the mistake they made
It was an accident.
There was no accident. It was murder.
What if he's still alive? Hey!
What are you doing here?
is coming back to haunt them.
Oh my God.
He's after me, too. I got a letter. I got run over. Helen gets her hair chopped off. Julie gets a body in a trunk, and you get a letter? That's balanced.
He's waiting for us to unravel.
The wait is over.
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
I know what you did last summer.
Written by Kevin Williamson, directed by is it Jim Gillespie? Gillespie was the director of this one. You know, I had to second guess myself there. I almost said we watched Urban Legend this week because I was thinking of 90s horror and I had to stop myself.
Time.
I mean, isn't that different?
No, I mean, this one is loosely based off an urban legend. It's not all about urban legends, but it is in there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's 90s and it's a rip off a Scream. It's kind of hard to keep track of them all.
It's
Sure,
an easy
sure.
mistake to make.
Yeah. But there's no crossovers, right? No actors were in Urban Legend in this one. Like Sarah
No.
Michelle Gellar was in Scream and this one. She's Scream 2, sorry.
She's in
right?
Scream 2.
okay.
I just watched it recently, actually.
Yeah, she's in the sorority. Anyway, I can talk about Scream. Where we watched I Know You Did Last Summer. And for those of you who don't know, it came out in 1997, loosely based off the urban legend The Hook, and it's based on a novel. But after a nasty accident, 4 friends begin to drift apart, similar to the story I described in the opening. And 1 year later, Julia James, played by Jennifer Love Hewitt, gets an anonymous message, and then a slicker-wearing, hook-wielding killer begins to rip apart their lives in more way than one. It's a play on words there, because this movie is a slasher film.
I didn't catch it, actually.
Yeah. The rip apart.
Yeah.
Subtly put it in there.
So we, this is actually more of a callback, because, like, we talked about... Haven't we talked about this before in a mini episode where you thought this was overrated? Isn't that true, Matt?
I plead the fifth on that one. No, I mean, I'm on record saying, yeah, I think it was overrated.
And this was Lindsay's pick this week, and I think you guys should argue it out.
I'm sure we will duke it out as this happens, but
I'm scared.
Well, you picked it, so is it like, I guess, I don't know, is it one of your horror favorites or one you hadn't seen in a while? Why
I
the
picked
choice?
it because I love everybody in the main cast. I also went through not that there's that many to choose from, and I don't think any of them are particularly good, but a couple summers ago, I wanted to watch all the Freddie Prinze Jr. movies that I could find. So obviously this was a natural choice for me, and I don't know, I just love everybody, and J-Love, Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillippe. This film is just pure 90s. And I love it for that. And so that's why we went down this road, because of that. Because I love Freddie Prinze Jr. so much.
A real Prince head, huh?
You
Is
can
that
say
how you
that.
guys call yourselves Prince heads?
We do as of now. I didn't even know that.
No, I can understand that. Because I have a similar feeling with Urban Legend that we've done on this podcast. And I love that movie just because it is pure 90s, and maybe it's when I first started getting into horror that I started watching that podcast. But no, I understand. But as you said, pure 90s, even from the first scene of this movie, which is the aerial shots of the ocean, and we see David Egan, who comes in later, who they believe they hit with their car. I just felt 90s, straight 90s horror. I felt like a Scream movie, it was Scream, because it was kind of a grungy song right underneath it.
Yeah.
Underneath, and it was this
Yeah,
rolling
I forgot what song it was.
helicopter shots of the credits. Yeah, I meant to write it down, but I didn't. But yeah,
It was really ridiculous, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Roger
angsty
Ebert
grunge
called it
horror.
the best shot of the film.
That's funny.
Oh man, that's harsh.
Yeah, doesn't say very much for the rest of the movie, but whatever. We'll get to that.
Well, yeah, but
I
mean,
like that.
I think. Did you say something? Yeah, you must have cut out.
Yeah, I liked, and then you cut me off, not deliberately, and then I stopped because you were talking.
Oh.
And
You
then,
thought we lost you.
No, I was gonna say that I like that the movie kind of takes place during a parade, it just kind of makes me there's a handful of horror movies that do this. There's a big town event, and then it's pretty much covered up by all the chaos of the events that's going on. And I always like when a movie does that, and I wish there was more of it. It's really in the background in this movie.
Yeah.
It's not the forefront, but I still like it a lot that it's it's there.
That's a good
I
point.
agree.
Yeah.
I like that element too.
Everything kind of gets drowned out in the chaos. It's almost similar to a Jaws horror, where it's the 4th of July weekend in Jaws as well. This movie takes place around the 4th of July. But yeah, there's a bunch of celebrations going on. No one's really paying attention to these murders that are happening in their town. Yeah.
Pretty brutal murders too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were. Especially... Well, you were just talking about the chaos of the town and the parades going on, especially Sarah Michelle Gellar's hooking.
Which I was surprised that you didn't see.
I'm a Sarah Michelle
more-
Gellar fan.
Yeah, I wish she was more utilized in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's weird, like, because, like, she's always, like, a victim in, like, those early roles, and then she gets casted as Buffy, like, just as, like, an anti-role for her. It was, like, the
It
exact
shows her
opposite.
range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just made me think, I was like, man, I really wish they utilized Sarah Michelle Gellar more in those early movies.
Yeah, me too.
Fair.
Mm-hmm. And then she went on to play Daphne in Scooby-Doo, so let's not forget.
Let's not forget.
or try to forget. Depending how you feel on a movie. Like, I was saying that... What's he, John Galecki? Is that his name from Big
I believe
Bang
so,
Theory?
yeah. It's Galecki.
Yeah, who's got a... Yeah, Galecki, yeah. Who's got a real crush on Jennifer Love Hewitt from the get-go. And it's, like, weird because he's, like, the nerd, but he's, like, cocky. And, like...
Yeah, where does that come from?
I feel like he should have glasses, but, like, because I just think of his character. And I feel like he squints a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he works as, like, a fisherman, which is really, like, weird to see
within
him.
the docks.
And he, like, burns his hand, yeah. And he gets, like, brutally murdered when he's, like,
Yeah.
preparing fish or whatever.
Yeah, I was curious about that. We said he dies, but he's not in, like, the main... If you haven't seen it, I mean, it's been out almost 20 years. Go see it. But he's not in the main friend group. It's Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar,
No.
Jennifer Love Hewitt, and she's the main character, is Julie. And then Ryan Phillippe, is that how you say it? All right. Okay,
Yeah.
They're the main friend group. They're two couples, but then he is still prominent because he shows up in the first scene. Max is his name. At the party, and he likes Julia, and they get like rough and tough with him because he's talking to her, and he gets tough back. I mean, I didn't.
It's funny because, like, Ryan Phillippe or whatever gets, like, really in his face, and he's like, "Get out of here, nerd!" and, like, shoves him, and, like, shit goes all over the place. And then Ryan Phillippe is like, "Come on, dude," to his fucking friend, who's Freddie Prinze Jr. And he's like, "I gotta protect your girl for you, too."
Yeah.
I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, that character's a real
He is. I feel like
he is just too much.
his intensity was like here the whole movie for me. If for the podcast listener, I'm holding it above my head. Yeah, he was like a 10 the whole movie, and everybody else was kind of playing a relatively cool, reserved role. But anyway,
Yeah.
back to the Max thing. Yeah, he's supposed to be a character, like some sort of side character, but he dies. He gets killed by the assailant. We won't say who it is yet. Why? Why does he get killed?
I know. It's kind of like, what'd he do? You know, like, you know, why? I guess maybe the reason for that is just kind of to show, like, okay, this whoever's, you know, behind all of this is a real threat to all of the, like, to the main four characters. I don't really know. It kind of seems to come out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
that's what I was. That makes sense.
Well, like, the body doesn't even come back into play, really, either. Because, like, I don't know what you're going to say, because it comes up in the trunk, and then there's, like, a bunch of crabs there. But then it's gone, and then...
And all the crabs.
And all the, like, very quick. And I'm like, huh.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I was just...
Like, it's not really a threat. Because, like, I would feel like the whole group would have to see it to really, like, have an impact, not just on one person.
Yeah, I feel like his death was kind of like... It was supposed to, the first one, really to show us that, I mean, like, the terror, there's imminent doom, and someone's going to die. It wasn't a main character. But I didn't feel like there was much weight to his death. Like, Julia felt something, but it was kind of just, as you said, Pete, like, the whole group didn't see it and didn't have that magnitude that you might have thought it would.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he was killed because he was there the night that they hit the person. He wasn't with that. He wasn't
That's
with them
true.
in the car. It was the foreman.
But he like
drove past and didn't
past.
know. He didn't know. He's a bystander, but he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows what he did last summer. Is what happened.
He knows what he knows.
Why
what
didn't
he
I
did.
think of that?
And I like to point out that like, that Buffy, her family owns like not a grocery store. They own like a, what is it like? It's a general store,
Oh,
right?
yeah, like
they sell like,
clothing
clothing
and-
and like jewelry. I want to say,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and it's owned by the dad who we see is watching a baseball game, and that's it.
Uh-huh.
And doesn't even say hi to his daughter. Just like drinking a beer, watching the ball game. That's it. That's all you get. And anyone working in the store is the two
The
daughters.
two daughters run the whole store.
Yeah.
I think he's given up power and authority to Elsa, which is Buffy's sister in this movie, older sister, who is very rude to
Yeah, she's.
Yeah.
Sarah Michelle Gellar's character.
She is so mean.
Yeah. She's rough.
And I think what they were trying to portray is like at the beginning of the movie, Sarah Michelle Gellar's character wins like the queen of the town. Or what did she win? Something like that.
Whatever. It's a pageant of some
Yes,
sort.
some pageant she won.
Queen Crab. I don't know.
Something like that, where she's, I guess, some beauty of the town, and Elsa, I guess, is portrayed as more of like the business or like no messing around or anything, wants to be taken seriously. So there's supposed to be that dichotomy, I feel like, between them, and they really made Elsa mean to Sarah Michelle Gellar because of that.
Yeah, they don't have. They're not friends. They don't get along.
It seems really unwarranted though, because you don't see Buffy being mean back. It's just like her older sister just being a complete
Right.
bitch.
It's one-sided for sure.
Hey, we're not seeing what's going on at home behind closed doors. We're only getting what the camera is showing us, okay? We don't know what happened. There's at least 18 years we didn't see. So we don't know.
All that backstory
Yeah.
that was clearly there.
Now, I would have gotten if, like, because Elsa is in the first scene before a year later, where most of the story takes place. And she was kind of mean to her then at the party. We meet her. I would have gotten it if, like, she was kind of nice to her there, because Sarah Michelle Gellar was on top of the world, and then a year later, Elsa is her boss at her family's store because she was supposed to go to New York and be like this actress or whatever, and then she's being mean to her because, haha, like, didn't work out. Still mean.
Your life failed.
Yeah, your
No,
life failed.
Elsa is consistent. You gotta give her credit for that.
She doesn't. You know what? You're right. Yeah, she is consistent.
All the way till the end.
The bitter end.
I would say that's probably one of the better scenes in the movie is when the killer goes after the two sisters, and you see another moment of where Buffy's coming in, she's being chased, and she's like, "I'm being attacked," and then the sister's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, your sister came in running and screaming that they're being attacked, and you have no sympathy at all.
Yeah, whatever.
And you're like, what are you talking about? You fucking bitch! Like, why are you talking to
Yeah,
me?
for real. That was her reaction.
And I was like, what is her deal? Like, even if you dislike your sibling, I feel like you would be like, oh shit, like, we have to fucking
like
do
you might
something.
react
We gotta
a
lock
little.
up,
Yeah, you know, like,
call the cops.
right, if you had like some sort of unconditional love for your family, that, you know,
Yeah.
You would
you
think.
would just dismiss them. Always, in any
If-
situation.
I feel like if Buffy died before her sister, spoiler alert, but who cares, because
It's been out for
it's a
20 years.
slasher. You know body counts. I feel like she wouldn't care. She would not care about her sister dying.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't think she would either. Like, ugh, what'd you do this time? Ay, ay, ay.
You lost your hair again.
Oh yeah.
That part was creepy.
That was
Yes.
really creepy.
So,
That's like my
Came
worst
in,
nightmare.
shaved her head. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
yeah. Yeah, so the killer is like toying with them because there's two instances. One with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and then one with Ryan Phillippe's character. I forget his name. There's Ray Hound and Julia, and then Ryan Phillippe's character.
Well, almost everyone got.
Yeah, he was messing with everybody.
I feel like antagonized except for
Freddie.
Freddie Prinze Jr. because like they tried to put him as like a red herring.
Yeah.
That's true.
We don't really see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, all of them come close to being a victim, and then they escape somehow, or is just toying with them. Yeah, she gets her hair cut off. Helen does. Ryan Phillippe gets run over by a car into a shack.
Yeah, he like. I actually thought like he died there, like
Yeah.
rewatching it, and I was like, did he just die?
Yeah, he's launched.
And then he's like in the hospital, and I was like, oh, okay. Is he gonna get murdered in the hospital? And I'm like, oh no,
You thought?
he's fine. So Matt,
What up?
so do you just not find this film entertaining at all? Do you find it too much of a ripoff? Like, what's your gripe with this movie?
Oh, we're talking Scream now.
Let's hear it.
Well, it's difficult. I say it's overrated because I don't think it holds up to Scream for several reasons. But saying it's a ripoff is tough because it is based on a book and it's the same writer. So it's hard to say they ripped it off if they got Kevin Williamson wrote both movies. So it's gonna have the same flair, I guess, if he's writing two of the same slashers. Two of the same slashers. Sorry. But this one just didn't. And maybe Kevin Williamson can write. Like, there's a story to this. But Wes Craven added the element of like it was like really meta. Maybe that's why I like Scream. It was like really into the horror genre. Of like everything they did was like tropes in the horror genre. They talked about it the entire time. This one seemed almost like it was a slasher. But I don't know what word I'm looking for. It did seem like a paper copy almost a little bit.
I think I saw this movie before I saw Scream. I want to say.
I probably did too, actually. I think I saw this one first.
And I remember
Hated
really.
it then too. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I remember really liking it. And I still do, actually. I think it's a very fun movie. And I don't think it could be any better. It's just like kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all like the writing is bad. I just feel like everything is like into place. It's like with the premise that it's in, it's like a good movie.
Sure.
No, it is, and I guess I kind of saw this when I was watching it. It's not that I said it was overrated. It's not that I don't like it. It's the fact that oh shit, I lost my thought. I was writing notes. I think it's overrated because it gets a lot of hype. I think more than like Urban Legend did when we were talking about Urban Legend. Where I feel like these ones are kind of similar, but Urban Legend gets a bad rap. And so they're all three kind of similar movies, is why I thought it was overrated. But I do enjoy it because as I was watching it now, it's been a while since I watched it. It's got that same 90s like dialogue that Scream had that was like really it's like, I don't know, no one would talk like that today, or no one would talk like that in real life, but like I loved it in Scream, so like I can't not like it in this movie. Like Ryan Phillippe's character and Julie have a lot of lines that I'm like, what? But I love it because of.
I think what I would like, the only thing I think they can make it better is that if there was more of like the core group. I think having 4 is too small. And like, like maybe a bigger body count. I don't know, because like it seems like Scream, I don't know if maybe the murders were more intense or had a bigger body count, because it didn't seem like there was a whole lot of dangers. Why are you guys laughing at me? What? What's going on?
Oh, sorry, Pete. You were talking, and it wasn't what you were saying so much, but I think Lindsay and both of I had like a drag on your video and your audio, so it was like it sounded like you're coming out of like the computer speak command, like when you type something in. And it was coming in really slow and like bigger body count.
And it sucks because like it sounded like what you were saying was really good, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just couldn't take the voice. I had to laugh.
I was just like talking normally, and then I just see both you guys laughing. And I was like, "What? Is there something on my face?"
You sounded like a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened to Matt earlier when he was talking.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I forgot what I was
Proceed.
saying.
I agree. You were talking
I legit
about
forgot what I was saying.
you were talking about the body count, and you were saying with Scream. You said 4 might not have been a big enough group, or maybe the attacks might have been more harsh or more threatening in Scream. That it felt more impactful. But I think it's not so much the murders were more intense. I think there are some intense ones here, and I know you did this summer. But I felt like in this one, it really focused on Julie. But they do that with Sydney and Scream. But I felt like more of a camaraderie. Like Ray, a year later, is barely like hanging out with them. Like you see him, and he's always by himself. So it doesn't seem like they're all in one place. Where like in Scream, they're in high school together, and they go to the parties together. So they're always like in the same place. I feel like that's why it just seems like they're closer. Where they're all kind of like in the movie, but they're just in different spots.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel like
less of a connection.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they kind of agreed, like, to, the incident happens, and then, they all agreed never to talk about it again. And I feel like when you experience something that intense together, I don't know, like, it almost makes sense that they would drift away from each other, And I mean, of course, they all go off and they do their respective things, like college things and whatnot, but,
And
it makes sense that they would want to disassociate from that, I guess.
That's true. You don't want to be around like 4 people you might have murdered somebody with that might bring it up.
It might bring up some bad memories.
Yeah, so you don't want to hang out with those people.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
Yeah, it makes sense, but I think it's just like this is the way like the script like made it harder for itself to be more impactful. Like it gave itself like these pretenses, and they like you said, everything had to be separate, which is like it was cool in how they did it, but like why Scream is a better movie is because like it feels like the attack is like on the group.
Yeah.
And then like no one is safe, and they're being attacked at different times when they get alone.
Mm.
And then like that's like really cool. Like it's like brings up the thrill where like in I Know What You Did Last Summer, they're already alone anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like the way like the writing like it like makes sense why the way it is. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think it can't be like much better of a movie. And I also really enjoy the sequel too.
Really?
I still Know What You Did Last Summer?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's something that people say very often. Please go on.
I mean, I remember it being pretty dumb, but I also really like it because I feel like they just. I just remember they like win a contest and they go to an island and the island's like deserted or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I remember of the movie, and I remember Jack Black being a side character, and he was like had like dreadlocks or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And he's like a horrible character. He's very annoying. It's so funny.
Yeah.
That was only a year after, right? Was it 98?
It was
the next year.
Yeah, it was like literally a year after, yeah. But it's like still very entertaining. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer is awful. There's no returning cast.
Well, that's like almost 10 years later too.
Yeah, and it's like mid 2000s. I want to say it came out
2006.
and it's like.
Wow.
Yeah, I was.
Beep boop.
That's so weird, and it's like none of it made any sense. They're like the killer. You're just like, wait, who's killing who? And it's like, why is this happening to these kids that I don't even remember what happened. Like it was just like so bad that like I can't even remember anything about it. It's like the killer didn't make any sense to me.
Okay.
That's the only thing I remember
And
about
the
it.
second one?
And the third one.
And third one. Okay. I never saw the third one.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah,
telling me
don't.
not to waste my time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second one's good. Even though that one has horrible reviews, I still find it like very entertaining. It's definitely it's a dumber movie for sure.
Well, what even baffles me, like I hear that about I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. It's got bad reviews, and they didn't make a third one with everybody. But I know a lot of people who really enjoy I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and I feel like it's got bad reviews on like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, it has very bad reviews.
But I feel like
it's
most people
a
like
7%.
if it's like
A 7%.
yeah.
Shoot, I
Well,
thought
no,
we were like 36, 37.
I think that's I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is like 7. But but it was like below 50. Like I just find that strange. Like maybe I thought it wasn't the best, but I know I would watch it. I know a lot of people who like it, and maybe it's just our generation that was like really likes it, and most other people didn't. It
Yeah.
just baffles
I
me.
also think
Because it was box office success. Actually,
It was.
both
like,
movies were.
completely commercially.
like early like pre-2000 movies for the most part that aren't like critically acclaimed get shit on Rotten Tomatoes. Like if it's anything pre like 2000, like 2001 probably, like back like when the internet was like really a thing. Like if it wasn't a classic movie, it has really shitty reviews. Cuz like of course like Your Godfather is going to have good reviews. Like and like The Exorcist, if we want to go back to horror, Rosemary's Baby, Psycho, those are all going to have good reviews. And then there's just not going to be a lot of like reviews for all these other movies that are, because they're just like, they're so late. It's not like they're having these, they might pull some reviews from like a while ago, but it's not a lot. It's only like 50 at the most. Like that's if you're lucky.
Good point.
Or like reviews of like movies now are like sometimes at 200.
Yeah. Some movies come out and they're like the best movie ever on Rotten Tomatoes. They get the best scores. I'm like, yeah, give it 10 years and see if that score's still up there. Like some of those, you just saw it. I get it, but one point I brought up earlier is the 4th of July movie, or it kind of is. How do you think it fits into the genre of horror that is based around holidays? I mean, you got your Black Christmas, you know what I'm talking about, Halloween's. Do you think it falls into that category at all? It's not called the 4th of July, but it is the 4th of July, and it's going to be its anniversary every 4th of July that this killer stalks them.
Yeah.
It like kind of is because it like falls the pretenses of it that happens around that certain holiday.
Yeah.
But like I feel like the 4th of July is like not the focus of the movie at all. Where like Black Christmas is like very apparent. Halloween is very apparent.
Mm-hmm.
April Fool's Day is another one. Like I don't even think it's like about the day.
Father's
Day. But it's like Father's Day. There's New Year's Evil, Christmas Evil.
There's some good ones. Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
a lot of Christmas ones especially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of feel like they just use it as a way of marking time. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think it's really like used for any other purpose. I want to say, in terms of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
It's like a way of like, it's not Halloween, so we have to find an excuse to come up with a horror movie for like general audiences to see.
Mm-hmm.
It's this evil, because like everything around Christmas is like really happy or Oscar worthy,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're like, let's come up with a horror movie to kind of like go against the grain here.
Yeah.
I feel like they try to do that almost every year. There's like a horror movie to some extent around Christmas. Like Krampus was a few years ago.
I was gonna say, you guys remember Krampus?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I really liked that. Low key.
Mm-hmm.
by
I
the
liked
way.
it too.
I did too.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I know you guys might know more on this, but I think we should touch on it before we get close to wrapping up here. This is based on a book by Lois Duncan. None of us have read it. We concurred, but I didn't do too much research on it. Do you guys know about like the similarities or differences, or like what the author thought about the movie that was maybe different from the book, the movie and the book?
They borrowed all the characters from main characters from the book. However, I guess she really wasn't liking too much how they turned her book into a slasher film. And it kind of, was she didn't like it because, like, in her personal life, one of her daughters had been murdered in 1989, and I think it was a drive-by murder too. So I think that was kind of a negative. And she was very open about how she did not like the movie at all. So I don't think they credited her in the second film, with like borrowing her characters or anything, and it's pretty obvious why.
Oh yeah. That's interesting. I'm always curious about that when they adapt a book. What is the author's thoughts on it? If the author really had any input whatsoever.
Yeah, if they're even involved at all. Yeah.
I feel like usually for the most part it's always bad unless like the author is like directly involved, like Gone Girl or whatever, or
Harry Potter,
Exorcist 3, where like the author of the book directed the movie.
Yeah. Not horror, but Perks of Being a Wallflower, the guy who wrote the book, wrote the movie. So...
That's how you do it.
So you're going to be happy with the movie if you wrote it. It's based on your book.
Yeah.
Alright, well, we've talked about...
I mean, you see that with like Stephen King too. Like, like he hates The Shining.
Which is crazy to me. Yeah, we talked about that, but... Gee.
Which is the best adaptation.
It really is.
Of his. But he loves... There's like a TV series of it that he likes that's more to the book. I guess it follows the book more closely. I think it came out like late 90s, early 2000s.
I remember it, yeah.
I didn't know anything about it. I just know that it came out and that Stephen King likes it.
Yeah. He might have had more say with that one.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, probably.
I bet Stanley Kubrick didn't give a shit what Stephen King thought when he was making that movie.
No, he literally did
I
not.
doubt he did. I'm gonna make my movie, Steven.
Good old Stanley.
Well, I think for this week, we've talked about, it was a box office success, some things we liked about the movie. Is there anything we want to add before, we shut the book, whatever. You know the expression I'm going for it. This week on I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Besides Defending and Destroy, which we haven't said yet.
I was going to say, let's wrap it up with that.
Right. Who wants to go first? I'm touching my nose, yeah.
Whoops, sorry, Lindsay, I jumped the gun.
Nah, it's all good. Yeah, like I said, like this movie kind of just like, I mean, we were children when this movie came out, so I wasn't really like watching it, like at 5 years old when it first came out in theaters or anything, but it kind of reminds me of just being, a kid and, because
Going to Blockbuster.
I don't know. Yeah, like you could do that back then. And, I like this movie because I think I think Sarah Michelle Gellar kind of had solidified a career of some sort by that point. But I think it really launched the careers of Jennifer Love Hewitt and Ryan Phillippe and Freddie Prinze Jr. Like, I think, and I think Jennifer Love Hewitt's performance in this, like, she is supposed to be the main character, so we do see more of her and her kind of character's development and how she's affected. I think she's been the one who was affected the most by the events that happened. I think she did a really good job with that. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of campy. It's kind of, like I said, like there's so many. You watch this movie in 2017, and the 90s element is so very, very evident. But I love it for that. So overall, I'm going to defend it because I picked it. So.
I'm also defending it, and I think it's a very popcorn kind of movie. And I was gonna make this point earlier, but I think the reason why it's better received amongst our age group than Urban Legend, I think, is because is it PG-13? Unless I'm like, or is it not? Because I thought maybe the rating could affect it.
That sounds right, to be honest, but no, it's R.
It is R.
Yeah.
Okay, then
Maybe the second one was PG.
I don't know then. Yeah, because like it does come off as like a PG-13 movie, but I guess that doesn't really mean anything since it was R. But I guess the cast, the cast is like everyone's recognizable of the four. They're all like famous from the 90s.
Yeah.
Where in Urban Legend, you didn't really have that as much. You had like maybe like 2 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And like that wasn't part of the main group. Like Jared Leto wasn't the main group.
No.
What's her name? That reminds me of Denise Richards, but it's not Denise.
Are you thinking of? No. Oh, I know. I don't know her. Is that the killer you're thinking of, or no?
Yeah, in Urban Legend.
Yeah, I don't know her name.
Yeah.
Rebecca Gayhart.
Yeah. You got Joshua Jackson. Aren't you a Mighty Ducks fan, and or a Dawson's Creek fan?
Dawson's Creek.
Never watched Dawson's Creek.
Me either.
I will admit I've watched like the first 4 seasons of that show.
They got it on Hulu now.
Yeah.
What was it on though? What was it on cable?
It's on DVD.
I mean, when it first came out, you ass.
Oh, whoops.
Was it a network show? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they had those reruns on at like 7 a.m. every day on TBS for like a decade.
Yeah.
Well,
Our childhood.
I don't have TBS because I don't have cable right now.
Mm-hmm. Me
because
either.
I don't pay for that.
No, I believe it was a big network show, or yeah, would it have been?
I want to say it was something like the WB, but I don't know.
That sounds
if it
right. I was trying to think
the
like it wouldn't. It doesn't seem like a prime time like NBC show. Yeah,
No,
so
I don't think
WB
so.
might be right. Yeah.
Yeah, probably
something
was.
like that at least.
That sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt. What do you think?
Take it away.
I had my argument, but it seemed to slip my mind. But my verdict is I'm going to defend it. Yeah, surprise, surprise. Now,
I did not think you were going to say that.
yeah, I think it's overrated, I said in that podcast, and it's not my favorite 90s horror. But I am, I guess I have a sweet spot for 90s movies, 90s horror. Like, I love Scream, I think that's like an awesome movie in general, but I loved Urban Legend, and that's worse in this movie. I like Urban Legend. And plus, it is an iconic piece of horror from the 90s. Like, if someone was like, what's 90s horror? I think 2 movies really come to mind, if you're not a big horror person, is Scream and this one, right off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. And it's parodied, like, the first Scary Movie was essentially just this movie and Scream. I don't even know if there was anything else. Oh, The Matrix was a joke in there, but yeah, it's part of the 90s horror that I love so much, and it's entertaining. It's Pete said, a popcorn movie, that's for sure. I literally had popcorn with this movie. Sat down on my couch and watched it with a bowl of popcorn. So I'll defend it. Still hold by my statement of overrated, but defend it. People should watch it.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. So I think...
Yeah, I think that's
all right, way to go. Okay, this is the Urquhart's podcast. Stay in touch with us online, Facebook. We're there. Twitter. We're there now too. We got a website. Check out some blogs. We're gonna try to get some video essays out of ourselves, talking to you about things we love about the horror genre on our blogs, and get on the forums. Let us know, please, what you want us to watch, and who's the best host. It's not Pete. Just let us know.
Wow.
I'm going to 180. I'm going from complete unconditional love for you, Pete, to jabs. Straight jabs. Well, with that then, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on 8 Reports Podcast. As always, I'm Matt Johnson. I remain in the shadows.
I'm Peter. That's it.
And I'm Lindsay, and we'll see you all next time on 8 Reports.